All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to interact with startups at 10:30 a.m. today. Budget session of Parliament to begin on the 31st of January with President's address. Election Commission asks observers to have zero tolerance towards abuse of money and muscle power during assembly polls. India's COVID vaccination coverage crosses 155 crore 92 lakh mark. All schools and hostels closed in Madhya Pradesh till 31st of January amid sharp rise in corona cases. Indian Army to introduce a new, light and more climate-friendly uniform for its personnel on Army Day today. PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen enter semi-finals of India Open Badminton Tournament. And in cricket, South Africa beat India by 7 wickets in Cape Town Test to win the 3-match series 2-1. As the number of COVID-19 cases is rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, to get vaccinated. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, please continue to follow the 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in details. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with startups at 10:30 a.m. today via video conferencing. The Prime Minister has been a firm believer in the potential of startups to contribute significantly to the growth of the nation. This was reflected in the launch of the flagship initiative Startup India in 2016. The government has worked on providing an enabling atmosphere for boosting the growth and development of startups. This has had a tremendous impact on the startup ecosystem in the country and has led to a staggering growth of unicorns in the country. More from our correspondent.
Startups from various sectors such as agriculture, health, enterprise systems, space, industry 4.0, security, fintech and environment will be part of this interaction. Over 150 startups have been divided into 6 working groups based on themes. These include growing from roots, nudging the DNA, from local to global, technology of future, building champions in manufacturing and sustainable development. Each group will make a presentation before the Prime Minister during the interaction. The aim of the interaction is to understand how startups can contribute to the national needs by driving innovation in the country. A week-long event celebrating innovation ecosystem is currently underway from 10th of this month. The event is being hosted by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The event marks the 6th anniversary of the launch of the Startup India initiative. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh will chair the first meeting with sectoral experts to have suggestions on structural and institutional reforms necessary to attain the envisaged Vision India at 2047 on governance today. The meeting convened by the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, DARPG, will also witness the participation of experts from academics and science community. Key issues pertaining to improving efficiency in decision-making in the central secretariats, reducing tendency, rationalizing working of ministries and departments, ethics, transparency and accountability in public service, creation of effective executive agencies, core principles of reforms in the government, benchmarking governance in the states, management practices in 21st century governance, citizen-centric governance, reforms in state secretariats, district collectorates, use of technology in governance, and creation of institutions of excellence will be discussed in the meeting. Bringing citizens and government closer using e-governance will be the core issue of the discussion.
The budget session of Parliament will commence on the 31st of January. The first half of the budget session will run from the 31st of January to the 11th of February. It will reassemble on the 14th of March to sit until the 8th of April, subject to exigencies of government business. The government will present the budget for fiscal year 2022-23 on the 1st of February. President Ramnath Kovind will address both the Houses of Parliament assembled together at 11 a.m. on the 31st of January, the first day of budget session of the Parliament. Lok Sabha Secretariat in a communique said that the 8th session of the 17th Lok Sabha will commence on the 31st of January and subject to exigencies of government business. The session is likely to conclude on the 8th of April 2022. The Rajya Sabha Secretariat in a press communique also said that the President has summoned the Rajya Sabha to meet on the 31st of January 2022. It said subject to exigencies of business, the session is scheduled to conclude on the 8th of April 2022. The winter session of Parliament concluded on the 22nd of December 2021, a day ahead of the schedule. The Election Commission of India organized a briefing meeting for observers to be deployed for the forthcoming assembly polls in Goa, Manipur, Punjab, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. Over 1,400 officials attended the sessions, which was conducted in Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi yesterday. Officers from various services across the country are to be deployed as general, police and expenditure observers in poll-bound states. Addressing the observers, the Chief Election Commissioner, Sushil Chand, said, observers during elections are the eyes and ears of the Election Commission of India. He advised observers to be updated with all electoral processes and policy guidelines. Stressing on the Commission's zero tolerance towards abuse of money power, Mr. Chandra urged expenditure observers to sharpen their skills and be innovative in countering newer methods of inducement. He directed all the observers should work in coordination with the enforcement agencies.
In Uttar Pradesh, Election Commission has suspended the SHO of Gautampalli Police Station and sought a written clarification from senior officials on duty regarding a massive gathering at Samajwadi Party headquarters in Lucknow yesterday during a press conference cum virtual rally. In a statement, the State Chief Electoral Officer has said the action has been taken for gross negligence in the discharge of duties. Earlier in the day, the police filed an FIR against the Samajwadi Party at Gautampalli Police Station in Lucknow for violating Model Code of Conduct and COVID protocols during the press conference cum virtual rally. A large crowd had gathered at the headquarters of the party. The event was held to induct former ministers in Uttar Pradesh government, Swami Prasad Maurya and Dharam Singh Sani, and 6 other MLAs in the Samajwadi Party. Party President Akhilesh Yadav was also present in the event. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 155 crore 92 lakh mark. Out of the total vaccination, more than 90 crore 37 lakh vaccine doses were administered as first dose, while 65 crore 16 lakh doses given as second dose. The Union Health Ministry said more than 37 lakh 50,000 precaution doses for the identified categories of beneficiaries for COVID vaccination have been administered so far. Over 3 crore 23 lakh vaccine doses have been given to children aged 15 to 18 years so far. The ministry also said over 49 lakh 33,000 vaccine doses have been administered till 7 p.m. yesterday. The vaccination exercise as a tool to protect the most vulnerable population groups in the country from COVID-19 continues to be regularly reviewed and monitored at the highest level.
Delhi has reported 24,383 fresh cases in the last 24 hours, taking the positivity rate in the national capital to 30.64%. This positivity rate in Delhi is the highest since the 1st of May last year, when it was 31.6%. As per the health bulletin issued by the Chief Minister's office, there are 92,273 active COVID cases in Delhi. Total 26,236 recoveries and 34 deaths were also recorded in the last 24 hours in Delhi. The cumulative caseload has risen to 16,70,966 and the death toll to 25,305. Madhya Pradesh government has issued new guidelines amid sharp rise in COVID cases. All schools and hostels from class 1st to class 12th will remain closed from today till the 31st of January. Pre-board examinations for classes 10th and 12th, scheduled to be held this month, will be conducted in a take-home exam format. Schools have been instructed to make the necessary arrangements for the same. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
All types of fairs in which large groups of people gather will be prohibited. All rallies and processions will be banned. The presence of more than 250 people will be restricted in all political, cultural, religious, social, educational and entertainment events. Events programs can be held in closed halls with less than 50% attendance in the hall. Meanwhile, state reported 4,755 new COVID-positive cases yesterday, while 1,022 patients recovered from infection. The positivity rate increased to 5.9%. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
Kerala has strengthened COVID regulations in wake of the unprecedented hike in COVID figures. Only online classes will be there for children till 9th standard. The decision was taken at the COVID review meeting chaired by Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan yesterday. A detailed guideline on this will be released on Monday. 10th and higher secondary classes will continue with strict COVID restrictions along with special vaccination drive in school. The meeting also decided not to have night curfew and weekend lockdown as of now. Work from home arrangements will be allowed for pregnant women working in government offices. Official events in government institutions will be conducted online. These restrictions will continue for 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Kerala reported a surge in COVID figures as it confirmed 16,338 new COVID-19 positive cases yesterday. Districts like Thiruvananthapuram and Ernakulam have reported over 3,000 fresh cases of COVID infection. A total of 68,971 samples were tested in the last 24 hours. 20 deaths were also confirmed due to COVID today, taking the total death toll to 50,568. Bringing respite, 3,848 recoveries were also reported. At present, over 45,000 people are undergoing COVID treatment in the state.
The Health and Family Welfare Ministry has termed some media reports baseless and misleading, wherein underreporting of COVID-19 deaths have been claimed. There have been some media reports alleging a significant undercount of the actual number of people who have died in India due to COVID-19 in the first 2 waves, claiming that the final toll may be substantially greater, crossing the figures of about 3 million. The Health Ministry has said these reports are not based on facts and are mischievous in nature. The country's overall exports, merchandise and services combined in December 2021 are estimated to be $57.87 billion, exhibiting a positive growth of 25.05% over the same period last year. Overall imports in December 2021 are estimated to be $72.35 billion, exhibiting a positive growth of 33.86% over the same period last year. India's overall exports, merchandise and services combined in April-December 2021 are estimated to be $479 billion, exhibiting a positive growth of 36.31% over the same period last year.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to interact with startups at 10:30 a.m. today. Budget session of Parliament to begin on the 31st of January with President's address. Election Commission asks observers to have zero tolerance towards abuse of money and muscle power during assembly polls. India's COVID vaccination coverage crosses 155 crore 92 lakh mark. All schools and hostels closed in Madhya Pradesh till 31st of January amid sharp rise in corona cases. Indian Army to introduce a new light and more climate-friendly uniform for its personnel on Army Day today. PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen enter semi-finals of India Open Badminton Tournament. And in cricket, South Africa beat India by 7 wickets in Cape Town Test to win the 3-match series 2-1. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
The Tri-Services Court of Inquiry into the Mi-17 V5 chopper accident on December the 8th has submitted its preliminary findings. The accident took lives of 14 people, including CDS Bipin Rawat. The inquiry team analyzed the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, besides questioning all available witnesses to determine the most probable cause of the accident. The Court of Inquiry has ruled out mechanical failure, sabotage or negligence as a cause of the accident. The accident was a result of entry into clouds due to unexpected change in weather conditions in the valley. This led to spatial disorientation of the pilot, resulting in controlled flight into terrain. Based on its findings, the Court of Inquiry has made certain recommendations which are being reviewed. The Indian Army will introduce a light and more climate-friendly combat uniform for its personnel on Army Day today. The new Army combat pattern uniform has been developed with the help of NIFT after going through options of 15 patterns, 8 designs and 4 fabrics. The camouflage uniform will be based on a digital disruptive pattern and will be available in 13 sizes. The new uniform has been designed to serve two purposes: protection against harsh climatic conditions and to provide soldiers' outfits with field camouflage to increase survivability.
The monumental national flag, which is the world's largest national flag made of khadi fabric, will be put to a grand public display along the India-Pakistan border at Longewala in Jaisalmer to celebrate Army Day today. Longewala was the center stage of the historic battle between India and Pakistan in 1971. The flag, which symbolizes the collective spirit of Indianness and the heritage artisanal craft of khadi, has been conceptualized and prepared by Khadi and Village Industries Commission (KVIC) to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the 75 years of independence. KVIC has handed over the flag to the Defence Forces for displaying the same at prominent places on historic occasions. And now, let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember educationist and Gandhian freedom fighter Saifuddin Kichlu, who was born on the 15th of January 1888 in Amritsar, Punjab. Kichlu devoted his life to preserving communal harmony in India and was at the forefront of the protests against the Rowlatt Act in Amritsar.
A lawyer by profession, Kichlu, alongside fellow freedom fighter Satyapal, led a strike to agitate people against British oppression. In a public gathering in Amritsar on 30th March 1919, addressing a gathering of 30,000 people, he said,
"The message of Mahatma Gandhi has been read to you. All citizens should be prepared for resistance. This does not mean that this sacred town or country should be flooded with blood. The resistance should be a passive one. Do not use harsh words in respect of any policeman or traitor, which might cause him pain or lead to the possibility of a breach of peace.
The British were alarmed by the growing resistance against the Rowlatt Act, and they arrested Kichlu and Satyapal on the 10th April and sent them to Dharamshala. Their arrests triggered the mass gathering at Jallianwala Bagh, which was violently crushed by General Dyer, massacring hundreds of innocent people on 13th April 1919. Kichlu was eventually released from prison in December 1919.
Kichlu was instrumental in the establishment of Swaraj Ashram in January 1921 at Amritsar to train young men for national work and to promote Hindu-Muslim unity. Saifuddin Kichlu was repeatedly arrested by the British authorities and spent a total of 14 years in jail.
Kichlu was also the chairman of the reception committee of the Congress session in Lahore when, on 26 January 1930, the Indian National Congress declared Indian independence. Kichlu was a supporter of Bhagat Singh and was actively involved with him in Naujawan Bharat Sabha. He was also a member of the foundation committee of Jamia Millia Islamia.
In 1947, Kichlu strongly opposed the acceptance of the partition of India. He spoke out against it at public meetings across the country. He called it a blatant surrender of nationalism for communalism. He was the founder president of the All India Peace Council, besides remaining vice president of the World Peace Council.
He received the Stalin Peace Prize in 1952. In 1951, the government of India made Kichlu, along with Jawaharlal Nehru and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, life trustees of the Jallianwala Bagh National Memorial Trust. He died on 9th October 1963. We salute the great nationalist.
We also remember social reformer Ram Gopal Ghosh, who died on 15 January 1868. One of the leaders of the Young Bengal group, he was referred to as Indian Demosthenes, comparing him to the Greek statesman of ancient Athens. Ghosh also helped in the establishment of Bethune College in 1879, which was the first women's college in India as well as in Asia.
Ram Gopal Ghosh joined the class of radical thinker Henry Derozio and soon became friendly with Ramtanu Lahiri and the other Derozians. When Derozio established the Academic Association, Ghosh became one of its leading members. In 1853, he was among the first to demand the eligibility of Indians in the civil service examinations.
In 1854, he proposed the establishment of universities in India. Ram Gopal Ghosh took an active part in the establishment of the British Indian Association. We salute the great Indian.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
आजादी के आंदोलन के खजाने में ऐसे ढेरों शब्द जिन्होंने बदल दिए इतिहास, तारीख बदलने वाले लफ्जों पर आकाशवाणी समाचार ला रहा है विशेष कार्यक्रम धरोहर हर सोमवार।
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
Delhi police recovered an improvised explosive device, IED, inside an unattended bag at East Delhi's Ghazipur Flower Market yesterday. Delhi police said the IED was disposed of by National Security Guard NSG bomb disposal squad using a controlled explosion. The device was pressed into a deep pit for controlled explosion. After receiving the information about an unattended bag in the mandi, the joint teams of Special Cell of Delhi Police, NSG's bomb disposal squad and fire services reached the spot and the area was cordoned off for further action. In Maharashtra, a Naxal carrying a bounty of 2 lakh rupees was arrested from Pomkegatta area in Itapalli in a joint operation by Gadchiroli Police and CRPF yesterday. Gadchiroli Superintendent of Police Ankit Goyal said Karan, alias Dulsa Narote, is a member of the Naxal action team and was originally with the Gatta Dalam of the outlawed movement. According to police, the dreaded Naxal is involved in 16 serious offences, including 6 murders, 4 encounters and 2 robberies.
Two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu and World Championship bronze medalist Lakshya Sen advanced to the women's and men's singles semi-finals at the India Open Badminton Tournament yesterday. First-seeded Lakshya Sen will square off against either Malaysia's Eng Tse Yong or Ireland's Nahat Nguyen in the semi-finals. In cricket, South Africa defeated India in the third and final test at St Newlands in Cape Town yesterday to seal the series 2-1. The hosts chased a 212-run target with 7 wickets to spare as Keegan Peterson top-scored with 82 for the side and was ably supported by Rassie van der Dussen, Captain Dean Elgar and Themba Bavuma.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will have a cold day. The minimum temperature was 6 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 16 degrees. In Mumbai, the minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 29 degrees. The city is expected to have a mainly clear sky. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will vary between 24 and 31 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have fog in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The city observed a minimum temperature of 15 degrees Celsius and will have a maximum of around 24 degrees. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between -3 and 9 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy later. Leh is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will have partly cloudy sky becoming later a little cloudy.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. A 3 kg IED found in a bag at Flower Market in Delhi, defused by NSG, headlines The Pioneer. Ahead of Republic Day, police recovers IED in Ghazipur Phool Mandi, writes The Statesman. Terror strike foiled as IED diffused at Ghazipur Market, writes The Times of India. Over 2.5 lakh new cases in 24 hours in India, highest in 239 days, writes The Asian Age. The first foreign sale of BrahMos will be to the Philippines, giving a major boost to the Make in India project, writes The Asian Age. In its first official statement on the chopper crash that killed India's first Chief of Defence Staff and 13 others, Indian Air Force has said that the crash took place due to spatial disorientation of the pilot in bad weather, reports the Tribune. Probe into CDS chopper crash blames weather, says no sabotage, reads the headline in the Indian Express. According to IMD, 2021 was the 5th warmest year since 1901 in India, reports the Business Standard. And finally, for health and good order, says Australian minister, while cancelling Djokovic's visa again, writes Hindustan Times.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to interact with startups at 10:30 a.m. today. Budget session of Parliament to begin on 31st of January with President's address. Election Commission asks observers to have zero tolerance towards abuse of money and muscle power during assembly polls. India's COVID vaccination coverage crosses 155 crore 92 lakh mark. All schools and hostels closed in Madhya Pradesh till 31st of January amid sharp rise in corona cases. Indian Army to introduce a new light and more climate-friendly uniform for its personnel on Army Day today. PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen enter semi-finals of India Open Badminton Tournament. And in cricket, South Africa beat India by 7 wickets in Cape Town Test to win the 3-match series 2-1. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.